Hi, it's Alison here from Pathlesstrodden and welcome to the garden that I grew up in. I'm standing in front of my favourite tree at the moment, this crispin apple tree behind me that's just got fruit that's just ready. And this morning I came out and picked a couple of apples and took them inside and had them for my breakfast. They are fabulous. Yesterday we had such beautiful weather again and I hosted a raw food potluck in this very garden. We had 9 people who each brought a dish. The table was full of lots of raw food goodies and we sat out in the sun chatting and enjoying the food together. It was wonderful. Anyway, today what I want to talk to you about is barefooting, and in particular my barefooting journey. So I wanted to start with why I've got interested in this. So, if you've watched my previous video, you'll know that I've just finished reading Born to Run by Christopher McDougall, and that got me interested in barefoot running. Now, I've not been a runner previously. I've got a bit of a dodgy knee, and I've had to have a little invasive operation on it a couple of years ago because I'd torn some cartilage, and the surgeon told me that the cartilage had worn down. I'm also hypermobile, which means my joints are very unstable, particularly my neck, and I've not really got on with running before, but the ideas in the book inspired me, the stories in it are wonderful, and also the scientific data in the book really intrigued me. I thought perhaps this was a way that I could learn to walk and run in a way that was less harmful to my body. So, the first thing I did, or one of the first things I did after the book, was to go out last weekend and buy a pair of Vibram 5 fingers, which I'm wearing now. So we'll just have a look at the shoes first so you can see them. Great, so the idea behind barefooting is that there's a different placement of the foot. So generally, 99.9% of the population, when they walk or when they run, they heel strike, which means the heel goes down first and then the foot follows through like this. But with barefooting, the idea is that the part of the foot that comes down first is the middle of the foot, and then the heel continues and lightly touches the floor, but you don't get the same heel strike impact. And the idea behind that, and the reason for that, is that the impact on your body is less, your knees don't get jarred, your back will feel better, and generally your posture will improve. So I've started by just walking around in these Vibrams. I've had them now for a week, and what I've noticed is walking around and looking at people walking is that everyone in the world heel strikes. I have not seen one person walking around who does not put their heel down quite solidly when they walk. And when I'm not conscious, I'm still heel striking. So to have the placement of my foot and the ball of my foot first, my midfoot strike, I've had to be very deliberate in my walking, extremely present in my walking, much slower I found. I can't walk as fast. I've also noticed that people stare at me. Not so much when I'm just walking down the street, but when I do it in the park, people have been looking at me. Physically, my toes have been a little bit sore from the difference in the shoes and how I felt, but those have got better during the week. My left heel has been a little bit sore as well. The shoe's not rubbing, but there's something different with my left heel to my right, which I'm sure will become clearer as I carry on. The good sides of it this week have been, when I walk I feel so much lighter, much more joyful. I feel like I'm padding around like a little child, and I can really feel the ground with my toes through these shoes because the base of them is so thin. I can feel the ground, and it just feels lighter. My whole body feels lighter, and that's a really good feeling. So yesterday, before my potluck in the morning, I went along to our local park, and for the first time I sped up a little bit. So I wasn't walking, I was almost running. And I have to say my running felt completely different to running that I've done in the past. To me it felt as if I was one of those marathon walkers. All the action was going on below here. This was really solid, this feeling here, but my bum was working really hard, my thighs, my hips, my legs and my calves were working much harder than I imagined they would, but the top of me was actually staying quite still. And the idea with barefooting is that this part of you doesn't really move much, which again for my hypermobility I think is going to be great, because my neck is my area of that's most delicate, and usually when I run I bounce around, but staying stable, hopefully there'll be less pressure coming through the vertebra in my neck here and less likely that I'm going to have problems, which is good. I noticed when I was running, the best way for me to think about running as opposed to walking was just that the transition was my core being pulled forward faster. So the transition from walking to running isn't as big a move as usual. It's just you're walking along and then you imagine the centre of you being pulled along and it going a little bit faster, and you just keep up with it. And the drive comes from the centre of you and your legs just follow along afterwards. I only did 5 to 10 minutes and my muscles are a little bit achy today because I used some different ones. But it was good. It was good. And my intention is now to try this for maybe 5 or 10 minutes for about 6 or 8 weeks, just to keep it at this level, and go out maybe for an hour a day for a walk in these shoes, just so my feet can get more used to them, and to do it slowly, for my muscles to get used to it slowly, and hopefully then it'll be at a pace that my body can cope with and I can learn from. So this is video number 1 of my barefoot journey, and I will certainly keep you informed as to how I'm getting on, the changes I'm going through and how I'm feeling. But for now, keep tuned to Path Less Trodden, keep up with my other posts, my raw information, lots of recipes, and enjoy the rest of this lovely sunny day and any barefoot adventure you might go on. Great, bye.